that the current WWE Undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns is involved in some type of controversy. Because just a few days ago, at a live event, I believe in New Jersey, Roman Reigns made a speech that brought some headlines to the IWC, that brought some headlines to a lot of wrestling fans out there, because basically Roman Reigns said that this could be the last time he appears in that town for WWE in a very, very long time. And he basically said that he was moving on, or he was starting to move on into a new phase of his life, into a new phase of his career, which would apparently take him away from most WWE dates in the future, or rather as many dates as he had been doing over the past few months. He had been working over the past few months with WWE. That, accompanied with the fact that a lot of wrestling news websites out there, Sean Ross Sapp, WrestlingInc.com, among others, are reporting that Roman Reigns recently signed a new deal with WWE. Now, among those reports, it wasn't specified if it was until, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now. The end date of those contracts wasn't specified, as, WWE wants to keep that under wraps as much as possible, and that's understandable. That's their biggest star currently on the roster. They don't want any leaking of when his contract and when his WWE term might end heading out there. But they did state that within that contract, Roman Reigns was set to work less and less dates with WWE. More specifically, he most likely would only work Raw, SmackDown, and some select WWE pay-per-views. And we're seeing that pretty much 3 weeks from now, when we have another WWE pay-per-view, premium live event, that's what they like to call them now, Hell in a Cell, and the current double champion is set to not appear at that pay-per-view. Which also means that ever since Roman Reigns won the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship, and he beat Brock Lesnar for the title, Roman Reigns has not been able to defend said championship or championships at any of these events in 2 months, if that were to happen. Number one, let's get into the headline of this, and Roman Reigns not being able to work as many dates with WWE as he has been over the past few years. That's understandable, because WWE has done a fantastic job of building Roman Reigns up to be the tribal chief, to be the head of the table. And Roman Reigns himself, you got to give him some credit. He has portrayed himself on television in such a manner that he is the top guy. He is the top dog. There's no denying that. Whenever he's on screen, whenever he's on TV, you can tell this man is different, and this man is above every other superstar on that roster. And yes, that includes guys like Randy Orton. Just simply put, Roman Reigns is on a different level. So with that said, is he about to take time off from WWE? Is he about to start his transition away from the wrestling and sports entertainment business and just head straight into Hollywood, much like The Rock and John Cena and Batista did before him? And the answer to that, we just don't know. We just don't know. We just have to wait and see. But I will tell you this. Roman Reigns versus The Rock is a match that everyone wants to see at next year's WrestleMania. Everyone wants to see that. Now, The Rock is a very, very busy man, so it is very unlikely that he might be able to fit that into his schedule. We just don't know. But this could play into the storyline heading into WrestleMania for that match, which is going to take place in Inglewood next year on the show of shows. So we just don't know. One thing is for certain, WWE is going to be very, very, very much in trouble if Roman Reigns does leave. Because, yeah, you've got guys like Randy Orton and like Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles and Edge and Bobby Lashley and Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. But none of them are up to the level that Roman Reigns is. Roman Reigns is your megastar. He is your top merchandise mover other than Stone Cold Steve Austin at this point. That means something. So WWE has to start working on a plan B. They have to start working on a contingency plan in case Roman Reigns does end up leaving for Hollywood. Number two, you've got to get into the fact that WWE's ineptitude of putting up challengers to face off against Roman Reigns for the Undisputed title or for any one of those single championships, which I assume at one point in the very near future they will have to disband and will have to make the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship separate once again. But like I said, all these guys I mentioned, Lashley, Rhodes, Styles, McIntyre, Orton, Edge, among many, many others that they could bring up to at least put up a fight against Reigns in one of these pay-per-view events for the title. WWE just seems to have dropped the ball there. I mean, we're talking about Roman Reigns being on this level, being the top character on WWE right now, currently. And it has been the worst that it has been. You had Chris Jericho back in 2001. He became double champion. That worked. You had Randy Orton become double champion in 2013. That worked. Now, it just seems like Roman Reigns is on standby. And WWE is keeping him on standby for the man that they appear to be putting all their marbles in right now.